Martha Karua is on who's talking there. She is our guest for the next hour, the party leader of PLP. Good morning and Happy New Year.
Morning and Happy New Year to you and to the listeners.
It's good to see you. Karibu sana. We're going to have some conversation around various issues. And we've said in our topic today, it's Martha Karua's journey to 2027.
Sawa.
We know what you said last year, that you are in this for 2027. You are in the running for the presidency in 2027.
Indeed.
We want to question that and see, so does it make sense today? What was making sense to you last year? But first, you know the drill. You've been here before. Janet is going to give you the day's quote.
Okay. Absolutely. This one is by Tandika Mkandawire, Malawian economist and public intellectual, who was the chair of African Development and professor at the London School of Economics. And he said, good governance is not about good intentions. It is about accountable structures.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if we were to rely on intentions, that's shaky ground. It depends on who and when. But if we rely on structures, then we are assured of the process and how things go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that was a conversation even as you were coming up with this new constitution. Let's create structures and strengthen structures such that it will not be individual, it will be structures that are in place. Not the person in the office, but the office. Right. But that we'll talk about whether that has actually, we have lived with that ideal.
Yeah.
Very far away. Why do you think so?
Yeah. I think the answer will be found in our failings as a people. We may blame, and a lot of blame will go to the government of the day. But imagine all those institutions are manned or womaned by you and me. What are we doing about our countries as people holding significant positions? Those who are in the judiciary, those who are in the police, those who are in prisons, in the entire justice system. And as citizens, how are we responding? Institutions are not made by the Constitution only. That prescribes how you do it, how you set them up. But institutions are as good as the people who occupy those offices. So a court may misinterpret or misapply the Constitution or the law. But people who are thinking of the nation and strengthening their nation, there'll be some consistency in their actions. That is what we are missing in all fronts. Yeah.
But I want to start the conversation with what's been happening lately in the news.
Yeah.
Start with Edwin Sifuna goes for a funeral in Muranga and he talks about what happened in 2022.
Yeah.
And he says, you know, wewe Junet ulifanya this and the other.
Yeah.
And it's reported on social media.
Yeah.
And Martha Karua through her ex account says, say it louder.
Yeah.
Say
Let's
what
say
louder,
we
Martha?
all want to hear. Spill the beans. Yeah.
Say it louder. Is it spill the beans or I co-sign? I agree with what you're saying.
No. Say it louder. Yeah, so that we all hear. I mean,
Okay, but do you agree with
are
what he
these
said?
confessions? I do not say that I know the origin of his whatever. But I know that Junet was entrusted by Baba with all things money. So I'm also interested to hear. Say more. Yeah. Yeah. One has a notion that things did not go right. But we've never dug to know what happened. So anybody with the information, let them spill it.
Okay, but you were there.
I was there. I wasn't in the room where they were doing the agents. All I know is that Baba entrusted literally almost everything to Janet. Yeah.
Yesterday we had Saitabao Olekanchori, Baba's chief agent, and he said more or less the same thing as Edwin Sifuna. That he had agents across the country, more than almost 120,000, he said, and the lists kept changing over time. From a principal's perspective, how involved were you and Baba with things like agents? Or was it Saitabao and Junet entirely?
You know, being chief agent doesn't make you in charge of everything. And no candidate at a national level, at a constituency level, you can be in charge of all your agents. And maybe even at a county you can try. But at the national level you can't. You have to entrust it to others. I cannot tell you that I checked exactly what was happening, but we were assured everything was happening okay. But I know I received calls the last 2 days from many corners of the country by candidates very angry, saying that their list of agents had been trashed and instead other people had been put in. And you know, for agents, a candidate is key. So we were trying to get the candidates to be reinstated. And apparently it was not, even OP had some involvement. So you find in some places the lists are given by the chiefs, which chiefs had already migrated to a certain other side. So when you start hearing that there were stations where Azimio did not have agents, it meant that they had force, if you like, agents, procured by people masquerading as neutral, but who were already on the other side. So something wrong went on. Yeah, it's not something that we ever sat down to try and see how not to repeat. You remember we started demonstrations relating to the server almost immediately. So I'm as interested as any other Kenyan to hear. And that's the encouragement to anyone with information. Say it louder, we would like to hear.
Were there any internal failures that you started to realize, either early on or towards the end, and then maybe perhaps in hindsight didn't sound the alarm soon enough? So what internal failures began to show?
I cannot tell you what, because I came in 2.5 months to the elections. I was completely deployed, overstretched on the campaigns, because I was required to do everything the mountain and still show up in other places. Because there are places Baba would go, even in Nyanza, and they'll be asking, where is she? So you find I'm flying to a place in Mount Kenya and flying the same day somewhere else to do the campaign. It wasn't possible to sit and do the planning. But you raise questions, have we taken care of this? And the box will be ticked. So in hindsight, we know that there are things that didn't go well. Yeah. And this time, I'm in early to ensure that whatever lapses were there do not occur. I'm in early for myself, because first you go for yourself. And this is the year that we must show up as candidate to make the menu for potential candidates enriched, so that later there can be a selection of the candidates.
Overdeployed or not, I don't know. There's nothing that, I hear you. You came in, it was not an ambush. But to hear things being revealed now, almost as if they're a surprise, internally there must have been certain things that you began to realize, either around the tone of the campaign or appropriation or misappropriation of whatever it was of funds, IEBC's failures, or were they doing something that made you sort of think, no, here something is wrong? Was there something over those 2 months, despite the fact that you were very busy, that you began to sit and say, this could cost us, or this isn't going as it's supposed to go?
There were organizational issues, and you mentioned the IEBC. There were deliberate failures set up to facilitate bungling of the elections, like we have seen even now with the IEBC. In fact, I was trying to think about Bere. You don't have to have gone there, and I didn't, to know that a day before the elections, armored tankers went to Bere, as though it's a war zone. Police were over-deployed. Some polling stations were totally inaccessible to the opposition agents. And you ask, isn't that a deliberate collusion by the IEBC with the KK administration to bungle elections? And are we being told this is what to expect? Those are questions we must raise before the next by-election, which incidentally is in March. Yeah.
I'm hearing, okay, before, let me stick to that before we even get back to 2022.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the IEBC's alleged complicity here.
Yeah.
Because if it's armored tanks, that's the state. If it's goons, that is politicians. Where is the IEBC's compromise?
They are in charge. Even the police deployed at polling stations, the security deployed. The law gives them the mandate. They can even tell you to go. Why were they quiet? They must have known. There must have been complaints that we cannot access ABCD. That's where the complicity is coming. And also when candidates misbehave, and now I'm not just talking about Beres, the entire by-election, Kasipul, Kabondo, and all that. You cannot sort of like say, to fix it, you find this one and you find that one. That's not how it goes. We want to know, how did it start? Who was responsible? If all you do is that, you are encouraging people to continue that way. You know, they have power even to exclude you. So we should hear serious warnings to the person who is complicit. It is not the same as when you attack me and I respond in my own defense. It is not the same. Who attacked and why? So such rulings, which are trying to balance, that's not how it goes. Yeah.
2022 then, what was the IEBC's complicity?
I think today was not about IEBC, and because we have not sat to put 1, 2, 3, I want to avoid that subject. Say there was too many things, but the biggest flaw for the IEBC, and this recurs all the time and has to be discussed, is barring agents, candidates' agents. Because when you start the polling without the agents, and you start allowing them at 9, after 2-3 hours of polling, you've already done the mischief that you wanted to do, ballot stuffing. And then, bombers. Let's go to bombers immediately. How do you tally for 7 days? You're manipulating. Every polling station has 700 voters and below. Some as low as 300, but let's take the average of 7. Counting must be within an hour or less. Tallying for that particular polling station, even if you give the whole process 2 hours, polling stations close at 6. By 9, counting should be done everywhere in the country. By 10, 11, we should be in the constituencies, which is the last place because there is no tallying at the county. When you relate to the national, by midnight or slightly before, we should know who is president. When you tally for 7 days, just because it is said, and I do not know how we wrote 7 days, when you do that way, you are giving room for manipulations, and hence the allegation of uploading, deleting, and re-uploading. There is no way. If you're an honest IEBC, you can tally the results for more than one night. I observed the last elections of Senegal that brought Sonko and Jumaye Faye. By 11 o'clock, there was a carnival in the streets of Dakar and everywhere else, because people had tallied and whatever, and they already knew who are the winners. And why does the IEBC root for opacity when the Constitution clearly says that everything must be transparent and accountable? And what do I mean rooting for opacity? The Chebukati Commission had warned that you must not, even after it is tallied, you don't announce, it's the IEBC that will announce. There is no such law. And I would remind people that in 2002, when NARC dethroned Kanu, the Constitution was not in place. But yet, because transparency is a fundamental in good governance, people were announcing, texting, the media was announcing, polling station, constituency, once they are signed by the presiding officer, not before. And you know the law says you must put it on the door. The media would announce. And media stations were tallying. If you remember in 2022, the media feared. Only Citizen dared to give their tally. Everybody else, the Nation, the Standard, withheld. Because the IEBC had that caveat. Why do we as a people listen to something which is obviously illegal? The reason why it must be open and the tallies must be known countrywide is to avoid manipulation. Because if it's being announced, I have a pen and paper, I'll be tallying. And we can declare for ourselves. And that is what happens.
It's transparency.
So to stop these incidences, my call to us as Kenyans, we must shout the tally wherever it occurs. We must shout the results. And the media must, again, assume its position like it did in the 2002 elections. Collectively, we can stop manipulation of elections and also highlighting irregularities. Like now where they say in Bere, the place was totally inaccessible. We needed highlighting by the media. The media did highlight in Malaba, the burning of the destruction of the hotel, burning of cars, many incidents. If the media does not capture those, then there will be mayhem. So the media's highlighting does help a lot in getting things to run normally, even on a day-to-day basis.
I think we'll have a big conversation on what needs to happen for the next election to avoid the previous mistakes. But also internally, because I think the conversation that we're starting with and what has been started within the ranks of ODM is the internal organization of each party, of a campaign
of ODM
preparing itself for that. We'll come into what PLP is doing, because you said you're already in it to win it and to secure your vote. But looking back, if you've not audited what happened in 2022, where clearly you all could tell that there were failures within our own organization. And you've not looked back into those failures within the organization. That conversations are now emerging 2 years later of what those failures could have looked like, and we don't even know what those failures are. We are likely to repeat. You have been a chief agent. You were the chief agent for the presidential candidate in 2007, right?
After my results, yes.
There, having been an agent, you know what that job entails. You have been a presidential candidate. Here you are again on the presidential ballot as a running mate. Right? Looking back, and you see we didn't have agents. You were being called 2 days to an election. We don't have agents. Our agents have been changed. And then on the day of the election, some agents are turning up at polling stations. They are not accredited. Others have turned up, but they had been already co-opted into other campaigns. That's a lot to talk about.
But let me tell you.
I have a problem accepting that all the principals were actually all sitting back. You, Raila, Kalonzo, Uhuru, all of you who have experience in presidential campaigns, all sitting back as this rot was happening and you were unaware.
Let me tell you that when you go into a coalition 2.5 months to the campaign, you already have a house that is already built. Basically, the secretariat was run by ODM. Okay? The joint secretariat. I had no problem with it. I deployed 1 or 2 people to go in there and support where Ms. Meso, who was the overall was. But let me tell you that the organization left a lot to be desired. As a coalition, we never fully discussed, analyzed. And the coalition, I left the coalition before we did that. Whether they ever got to do it, I don't know. But we analyzed right from the beginning, as NARC Kenya then, what went wrong, how our participation should have been, and what we shall not do if we ever enter a coalition again.
As we take the break, Martha, I just want to ask you a direct one.
The checklist.
Do you think ODM let down the coalition?
Let me say this. I don't want to blame any one party. I want to say we let ourselves down, because even though I was so busy campaigning, I too should have said I want to deploy in this and this place. in the committee dealing with the agents, in the whatever, I just also got comfortable with the campaign and with leaving the matters as they were. To that extent, I cannot just sit and blame one coalition partner. I think we left too much
on the table.
Yeah, we took too much for granted. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, hindsight is always 2020. We'll still come back and just go, stay a little bit in the past before we go to the future, because I think trying to iron that out gives us a better indication of what's expected ahead. But we are in studio with Martha Karua, party leader for People's Liberation Party, talking about the journey to 2027. It's coming up to 7:30. Share your thoughts, your questions as well on our digital platforms. We'll bring them up in the conversation as well.
Evo too.
Absolutely. And just as we get back to our conversation with Martha Karua this morning, a few of you on YouTube are already sharing comments and feedback. We'll see whether we can get those answers now or a little bit later on. Jose Little says, ask Honorable Martha Karua what they are doing to push for reforms at the IEBC, specifically the deployed technology from Smartmatic, which appears prone to manipulation. So that's one. Staki Mapepe says, good morning, fixers. I am a believer of Martha's philosophy of being firm and feel that she should be at the top of the next arrangement of government. Please make sure we have one united opposition. We will come to that with her in just a moment. We were talking about it during the break. Finally, again, Jose Little says, ask Honorable Karua to clarify the minor KI ruling regarding the validity of results announced at the polling station. Is Bombers of Kenya tallying center for presidential elections necessary? We will come to those.
And also what they are doing to push for
reforms in the IEBC.
Yes.
We'll come to those in just a moment. But even as we continue the conversation, we were talking about the narrow loss, so to speak. And just given how narrow that presidential result was, do you think that internal disorganization could be blamed for the outcome?
The blame for the outcome is the rigging, deliberate manipulation by the IEBC and the KK players. Yeah.
Some parts
even with the disorganization, I still hold Azimio 1. And I've already given you my lead, that 27 out of the 47 counties, the presidential vote went to Baba. Among those counties were big counties like Nairobi, Kakamega, Mombasa, Kisumu. Only 20 went for KK. And the big county going to KK was Meru, Kiambu. So you can see that with their 20, if 2 of the big counties went to the Azimio side and 2 to them, there's no way their vote basket could have overcome this one, even just on a tally. And then Azimio had more parliamentarians than them. And I said that right at the beginning. You remember that KICC press conference?
Yeah.
It has taken the court to declare Azimio the majority party. So I believe even with all the disorganization, Azimio won. So what can we do to stop manipulation of results? How can we make the elections more transparent? That's a question we will have to discuss and answer as Kenyans, because everybody has a role to play.
Do you know exactly how they manipulated this result?
Just announcing figures that came to their head. Why on earth, if you've done your job, would you hesitate to open yourself for scrutiny? At the Supreme Court level, we were only given a partial scrutiny. The question up to today, open the server. Open the server means just give us access to the records for verifications. Why would you refuse? And this is not the first time. In 2017, I remember lawyers for IEBC saying in court that in France they are asleep, so the servers cannot be open. It's the same thing when you don't open. You know, the court must always make presumptions on the side of right. That if the Constitution says open and transparent, they must always demand the records to be on the table. And if a candidate wants scrutiny of the ballots, It must be allowed. The presidential is not possible to do scrutiny of the ballots, but at least you can look at the forms. It is possible. Even though it is 2 weeks, it would not take more than a day actually to look at the results of 290 constituencies. You're not going to go to every whatever. So it is possible.
So my question is actually deeper into how the political players manipulated the IEBC or infiltrated the IEBC so that then the IEBC was used to manipulate the results, right? This is not a first-time allegation. After every election, always the fingers are pointed at the IEBC. IEBC bungled an election to favor a certain candidate. And then you ask yourself, so exactly how did that candidate infiltrate the entire institution to manipulate it to their favor? They accused PNU in 2007. They accused Jubilee in 2013. They accused Jubilee again in 2017. They accused Kenya Kwanza in 2022. If you look back, how exactly is it that, for example, William Ruto's team infiltrated IEBC ahead of 2022 and used them in 2022 to rig the election in their favor, as you call it?
It starts not just with the appointment of the commissioners, but capturing individuals, the CEOs of those organizations, because they are the drivers. Right now, you saw our colleagues writing a letter and saying Marjan, the CEO on his own, has done strategic procurement long before the commission came in. And there lies in the real issues. After the allegation of 2022, a person like Marjan should not be anywhere near the IEBC. You remember in 2008, the entire Kivoito team had to leave, including, I think, even the secretariat. Everybody had to leave.
The entire ECK
I
was
believe
disbanded.
now, in every election, the CEO should leave until we become better people. And we should not have higher returning officers in the constituencies permanently. That should be a temporary job. Because then you get people to now, you know, have people whom they can capture and all that.
But then that
there
increases
are many
the number
things
to manipulate. Because if you're saying that the one area, for example, one simple entry is manipulate the appointment of commissioners. Now, if you also go ahead to manipulate the 290 shall come in into every election, we shall be appointing 290 returning officers.
You don't need
increasing
them.
the number to manipulate.
No, you don't need them because you do. What do they do for 5 years? What preparations do they do? Do you know, in one time in this country, elections were run by one person. When I grew up, it was Montgomery. Later, it became Nyarango. And elections maybe were better than they are today. So why do we have these large establishments? What they do in most places is that you get people from the civil service in the counties, and they get appointed. They apply and get appointed. And the most important thing is to make sure that they are acceptable by the people in that county, because there are people who are known not to be okay. And that's why I have a problem. If the opposition has a problem with the setup at the IEBC, we should have no problem releasing Marjan to go and work elsewhere. You don't need to sack him. He can be absorbed somewhere else in government. If it is a returning officer in Kirinyaga we don't want, take him somewhere else and free us, you know? Elections, the confidence must be in the people, not in the government of the day. If the stakeholders have no confidence or are raising questions about an officer, that officer should be changed. And it used to be that way. But now it has become like it is the government of the day who own the election. And therefore they will not remove people even when you want them removed. Those are some of the things we will have to discuss. We are going to, as PLP, be making a visit to the commission. Even if we have questions about them. They are drawing salaries from us. They owe us explanations.
Okay.
So we are going to go there and have that conversation. Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. The other way is like the politicization of anything to do with the IEBC is incredibly dangerous, because no one will ever be happy with the constitution of the IEBC, even all the way down to returning officers, etc. So then it'll only ever be okay if it's Janet's people or Eric's people or Mariam's or Martha's. And then we end up with essentially commissions that don't feel independent, feel very attacked constantly by whether it's the public, the media, but especially by politicians. So then the public trust in the IEBC is reduced. As a result, everything then becomes compromised, right? Whenever there's,
The point I made and the point you may be missing is that the confidence of the people being appointed should be the confidence of the stakeholders, not of the government of the day. So when you appoint commissioners, let those names not be picked by one person. Let those names be agreed upon, and let the person who scores highest be given. Not 3 names to the president to pick one. He's not the only stakeholder. Number 2, if there is a complaint, if one side doesn't feel confident, move that person. That person is not a must in those elections. Deploy them elsewhere in government. If stakeholders have, issues, even we as individuals, if I'm the one at the IEBC and people don't have confidence in me, I should be able to give way. It's the same thing as a person in power being told we have no confidence in you. And I believe the Gen Zs, on behalf of Kenyans, did tell William Ruto that, good political hygiene and accountability means you can actually say, yes, I will retire to let the country go on. That is what Tambo Mbeki did in South Africa, or no wrongdoing whatsoever. And I'm sure they regret because they missed a great
I'll step aside. You just asked.
Yeah, you're talking about stakeholders. Who are stakeholders in an election?
Right.
Stakeholders are everybody. So all the political parties participating, because you can't do a referendum on employees. So if the political parties raise, and it used to be that way. I do remember in one of my elections, I went to the returning officer in the constituency, and I raised issue with one one presiding officer who was a known campaigner of my opponent. And I indicated that actually she was even wearing a T-shirt of my opponent in one of the whatever. They didn't ask many questions. They just changed that because
clear.
We should have confidence. You see? I'm sure they did their own local whatever just to verify. And I was not raising. That time we had 28 polling stations. Today there are 100 and something. So if I'm complaining just about one, then there must be a reason. That's the way it should be.
I hold a different opinion on who the stakeholders in an election are. I think the stakeholder is one, the voter. Everybody else is secondary.
But I said the voter is the citizen. You can't hold a referendum on the employees. So the people who come to the table, even because IEBC keeps on calling meetings, they call political parties, okay? Election time, they'll hold meetings, they'll call the candidates. It's not possible to call all the voters.
If we remove,
and the candidates,
if we get to a point, Martha, where we remove this whole conversation where there has to be a negotiation between the referee and the players, right? And, so I've got to call in, this side and this other side. You are never going to agree. We have gotten to a point in our culture of politics where if you sat in a meeting and you notice that the other side are agreeing to what is being suggested by the IEBC, you raise a red flag. And you don't trust it. And you'll now also be raising an opposing view. So constantly we see politicians coming to seek to either control the IEBC or to influence how the IEBC is thinking.
So
that is to the detriment of the sovereign.
Would you
the
rather
sovereign is I, Martha. I am the one who is waking up on that voting day to go and delegate my sovereignty to that elected official. That elected official is secondary to my wishes.
If you
that elected official should not be the one who's sitting with the IEBC before the day to organize how I am going to delegate my authority to
That's
them.
a new way to see it, but every election, even the 2022 one, I remember attending once the IEBC meeting on behalf of Azimio. So they call stakeholders, and those stakeholders are mainly political parties, civil society, because they can't call a referendum. They cannot call a referendum on every question. These are the people who carry your voice at that stage.
Yeah.
But if a member of the public came and had issues, I'm sure they would be heard. So and failure to do that for me, because I'm thinking as you're talking, what is the other alternative? If we fail to call the stakeholders to voice their concerns, then you're leaving it to the government of the day, because they're conversing with the IEBC. IEBC, when they need something, they will be talking to the government of the day. You need to bring other people on board. So the public participation is a constitutional thing, by the way, as of now.
Yeah.
And that is how it takes part in the IEBC. But they also hold meetings where they talk to the public generally.
Yeah, I wish it was more of the civic centered stakeholders, where yes, we are talking about the civil society organizations, the religious organizations, the political parties as entities through either the political parties forums and such come in there, not where we are saying that candidate Martha Karua is sitting in this meeting representing the Azimio coalition, which is presenting candidates in this election, because Martha Karua has an interest in this.
Yeah.
Then the voice of my representative, who's a civil society, who's a religious organization, who's a CBO, will be muted when Martha Karua is in the room.
By the way, they are not muted. You know Kenyans, and they are vocal enough. And it is important you call the key players, all the players, so that they are able to voice. And I believe the meeting I went to had all the 7, were they 7 presidential candidates? Even I remember meeting Wajakoya there. So everybody was represented. And I don't know what would be a substitute to that.
Everything
and
else
the question,
let me tell you, anything else but the 7 people meeting the IEBC, for me, that's an future ideal. Remove
by the way,
these people
it was
from
not
the room.
the 7.
You guys should never ever, and I strongly believe this, you should never ever engage.
Give us your formula.
IEBC should gag you, never talk to me. If you talk to the IEBC, they tell you we disqualify you from the election. Janet, talk to the IEBC, you are the voter. Citizen so and so, maybe show you somewhere in Narok, talk to the IEBC, you are the voter.
Is that an IEBC selected by William Ruto, one of the contestants, or is it an IEBC dropped from heaven? That one which we will not talk to.
An IEBC selected by the people. Selected by the people through structures that the people have established in their constitution and in their laws, and they've agreed with.
Which is manipulated daily, and where you just speak any.
Because of
because politicians have centered themselves into this.
We
so
have
if we remove you guys, we will be able to have our own independent IEBC.
With you where some of this may come in. I just wanted to quickly ask.
Hour?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to quickly ask as we segue, as we tie up the Azimio one, because I want to go from that to PLP to the present. A lot of Azimio supporters feel betrayed by what they term as internal incompetence. The first question is, especially...
But I'm not in Azimio.
No, I'm talking about
Are you aware?
You're not in opposition.
I'm talking about what happened in 2020. That's why I'm saying I'm tying it up. The first question was, do you share their anger? Because they're talking about, now as everything is coming to light, they're like, I feel betrayed by what I see as what was deemed as internal incompetence. That's the first question. And the second one is whether it influenced your decision to strengthen your leadership now and say, you know what, this is why I need to strengthen my leadership. This is why I'm going to form PLP. But the first one is, do you share their anger? I'm talking about reflecting on 2022. They are saying, I feel betrayed by what I am now learning is internal incompetence. Do you share their anger?
They are entitled to be angry now that things are revealing themselves. And I accept what they feel, But I will not pretend to be angry, because when I look back, I also see things I could have done better as one of the key players. However late I came in, I see things I could have improved on. Even though I was involved on daily campaigns, I could have deployed better. So I share the blame, part of the blame, with the rest of the Azimio team. So I don't want to say they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
We, thank God.
And it influenced, did it then influence your decision to say, I want to strengthen my leadership through what I want to do with PLP, which you'll tell us about in the next hour? Is part of it that, like, I want to take charge of this and say I'm going to do things differently? Could that have also been influenced?
We've always done it differently. It is just that I entered a coalition of 26 parties, become running mate at the tail end, without any real influence in the organization. Otherwise, we want to see, the only thing that will strengthen is how do we structure our engagement with coalition partners. That is the only area we need to strengthen.
Moving to now the present, which is Matters United Opposition, and you said the uniting opposition. There is what has been said often, which is like what we're seeing is democracy at play, right? It's deciding, how will we do this in 2027? It's the background work that we somehow have a front row seat to, but sometimes it seems that it's a bit more than that. Recently, we had Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua differing on when a presidential candidate will be unveiled for the United Opposition. Kalonzo Musyoka says, by March, expect to hear from us. We'll give you a presidential candidate. Rigathi says, no. He said early August. I think early August, yes.
Of this year.
Of this, I think it's this year, I'm hoping. I don't know. But genuinely, is the United Opposition going through, a democratic process, or is there a reason to worry?
One, I am not its spokesperson. The spokesperson of the United Opposition is one Dr. Mukisa Kitui. But I will say this, that I'm not aware of any discussion regarding a presidential candidate, regarding the timing. We have not even signed any pledge of commitment having, the rules of the game. So we are still at the nascent stage. Until we have something in writing about our commitment, about the rules of the game, we really are at the primary stage. So that is the stage I would myself root for. Yeah.
So then at this stage, sorry, Maria.
No problem.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, the United Opposition is at the primary stage. I think President Ruto and co are in the secondary, almost graduating to tertiary. Do you think it's a disadvantage for you?
Not at all. There is no election. President Ruto is abandoning his duty station. He is guilty of dereliction of duty. No wonder things are going so wrong. Instead of serving the nation, he's serving himself, preparing for an election that is not yet there. So I do not feel disadvantaged, and I do not subscribe to bad political hygiene of abandoning duty and rushing to look for a second slice of the pie when you have not even finished the first one.
We're going into a break. Pause that, because we still need to completely delve into Matters United Opposition and PLP.
I think PLP more.
Yes, for sure. It's already going to time. I was going to read a few comments, but I think we'll come back with them. A few people online. What action have you taken to secure your votes as leaders of opposition? A little bit aligned to what Mariam is saying. Do you feel disadvantaged? You've said no. I agree with Honorable Karua. CEO should not preside next election. Returning officers are the agents of rigging, is what, according to Njenga Njogu.
It's true.
Okay. So we'll come back and sample more of your feedback, but we are with Senior Counsel Martha Karua talking about the journey to 2027. We'll focus more on PLP when we come back after the break. It's coming up to 8 a.m.
Coming on to the third hour of Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. We are live on NTV, Nation FM, and on all our digital platforms. Continue our conversation with our PLP party leader, Martha Karua, as we look into the journey. Martha's path towards 2027. She has said at the PLP's, was it a National Delegates Conference, that, in fact, the members of the party endorsed the party leader to go ahead and, champion for the presidency and to have the party big, strong. So we want to ask ourselves, this party PLP, how strong is it? And then how strong would it be in the united opposition? And the united opposition, how prepared would it be for the next election? And if the opposition does not unite, is PLP prepared to go it alone in that whole journey? Let's remind you of today's quote for those who missed it in the first one.
Okay, absolutely. Tandika Mkandawire once said, good governance is not about good intentions, it is about accountable structures. And I feel like we've unpacked that a little bit in the last hour with our conversation with Martha Karua about some of the structures, and we're looking back at 2022. So intentions aside, good structures is what breeds good democracy in many ways. Okay, so PLP.
So as we were taking the break, Martha, we talked about, so the past, we've looked at the past and several things that have happened with the organization of a presidential campaign, and then also with the organization of the elections and what we need to do to ensure that the elections are credible and that the election management body is credible. We'll talk about IEBC later. Let's talk about PLP. The People's Liberation Party is a party formerly known as NARC Kenya. How old is it now?
20 years. I believe PLP was registered before ODM.
What?
Yeah. We're 20 years. And we are very strong on governance. And
what does that mean that you're strong on governance?
It's a well-run party, democratically run. It has all the structures. And it does things in accordance with its constitution. And why this is important is that a government is as good as the political party that forms it. A chaotic party forms a chaotic government. And if listeners want to see this picture the UDA party and the UDA government. If you want to remember a well-run party, other than PLP, you remember Mwai Kibaki's DP. People used to call it the gentleman's party. What they meant is that it was orderly, it was run according to the set rules. Kibaki ended up forming, his first government was a very good government. And that's an example of a well-run party. Never mind that it's not DP that took him to power. It is NARC, NARC, but the habits he had formed at DP translated. A party whose leadership does not get their mandate from the national executive and from the highest body, the National Delegates Conference, who make personalized decisions for the party, are likely to repeat the same thing in government. A party that rigs its candidates will take a certificate from a winning candidate, take money from a candidate and swap. That sort of behavior, unaccountable behavior, will translate to similar things in government, including corruption. So that what I'm saying is that as Kenyans, we should watch political parties. We should join and build strong institutions that are ready to govern and take Kenya to the next level.
What do structural safeguards look like, Martha, when you're looking at PLP, right? What do structural safeguards look like to kind of secure that good governance in a time when things are a bit chaotic? What does it look like for PLP structurally?
Every party, I'm not saying only PLP has, we have a national executive. For day-to-day, we have a management committee, NMC, and we have the governing council and the National Delegates Convention. Every party has that. It's not just PLP. But on a day-to-day basis, are decisions made by those bodies or by individuals and announced to the bodies? If we don't practice good governance, that you can accept a minute's or days delays in order to get your governing council authorize or share your idea, debate it, accept or refuse it, then you're not preparing yourself for the next leadership. And there are parties that even put people on the nomination list and then remove them. So all those little things pertaining to governance in a political party are indicators of where that political party will take you.
How do you...
I would say,
sorry to interrupt. I was just going to ask, political parties in Kenya are often personality cults. We were just discussing this.
Yeah.
So when the personality isn't there, the political party is more or less dead and buried. How does then PLP safeguard against that?
It's just making sure that you subject yourself to the internal rules that are there. That if I want something, even if I'm in a hurry, even if there's no time for a meeting, you can meet online. You can do a Zoom. You can do a WhatsApp call. But make sure that whatever you are doing is authorized, it's minuted. You want to hire, you make sure that you go through the process. And if you don't remind you of these little things as a habit, then you're building to get yourself to be a dictator. Because we are very good at criticizing when it is others. But when it is yourself, you will fail to notice those little things. So what I'm saying is that Kenyans have a duty not to just watch political parties, but to join them and help them grow as institutions. Kenyans also need to understand political parties. What is a political party in the first place? It's a forum where people with similar ideas come together to look for power, to govern the country the way they see it. They'll put in place policies representing their ideals, which would translate into government, instruments of government. And the funding of the political parties primarily comes from the members. After a certain threshold, the public coffers do fund political parties. But the funding and contributing of ideas is from the members. So if you do not join political parties and you are hoping there will be good governance in the country, and you're not willing to contribute it by building strong institutions to govern the country, strong political parties, then you are wishing for something that may not happen. So I'm urging, especially the middle class, the professionals, the business people, join political parties. You are the missing link. In this country, political parties have the grassroots and the people who want to run. Other people may even come and support us when we are running, but very few professionals and people in business are members of political parties. It is important. And in countries where you see parties as strong institutions, know that a majority of the people have joined. And you should be able to hold the leadership to account. When it's only the grassroots and those who are running, there's less accountability, because those at the grassroots are not in a position to challenge the top leadership. They are rarely in a position to. But if you have your peers as part of your political establishment, they will be able to tell you this is not the way to do it.
Is it the way political parties are, quote unquote, platformed or sold to people that just deters them? Do they feel like, number one, okay, there's the public, trust deficit for one, the history of political parties and just the nervousness around, will I get caught up in this said mess? Number two, I'm almost throwing it out there for all of us. What is that missing thing that would draw professionals from joining political parties, given that
look at them.
It's how we look at them, it's how we view them.
Or not so much how we look at them, but also how they function largely. So we know that I will join Jano Democratic Party if she's popular in the CBD and I'm running in the CBD, fine. Next election, it's Eric's Patriotic Front. Fantastic. They're the I just hop, step, and jump onto that one. Next day, I see PLP are doing good, I'm there. So then if the public doesn't have faith in the party or doesn't understand what the party stands for or what it is, you just see it as a vehicle for a politician.
How are you engaging, say, professionals and middle class when you're talking about PLP? Because you're making a valid point. Like, if we want to move somewhere, we need to participate in parties, right? Is there a way that you're speaking to them? Is there a message you're sending? Because a lot of people are kind of deterred by political parties.
Exactly that message. And we have started attracting a good cadre of professionals and business people. And we've even formed an economic and social council within the party, which can draw that cadre of people where they're able to influence policy. And when you form these groups, because it is from these groups that you can also get people to help you run government once you succeed. So you prepare, you get people who are thinking alike, so that even when appointments are done, you know these are already people know the direction that you're going. So yes, we are speaking to as many. And I would say, if join a political party of your choice, because PLP is not the only party. I would be happy if it became the party of choice for everyone. But if you don't join PLP, just join a party of your choice, so that we as Kenyans are working to build institutions that can help redeem this country, that can help put good governance in place. We need a country that is running like a going concern. Can I give you an example that is on people's lips just now? Look at the way the placement for the schools was done for,
Grade 10.
Grade 10. The complaints are because of corruption and bad governance. That a child who has high marks is not taken in the school of their choice, is taken to a different school to give chance probably to somebody who is not deserving. And this is the same problem I'm talking of manipulating, even when hiring for our institutions. When we say be competitive, we expect the best to reap the fruits of their labor. If you've done well in an interview, to be taken. If you've passed in your examinations, to be the first to get placement, not the last, not to be hanging. All these things are symptoms of bad governance. I heard Dr. William Ruto saying that drugs and substance abuse are a national emergency. He's missing the point. The emergency is rule of law, abandoning rule of law, which leads to bad governance. If you tackle the symptoms, which are drugs, corruption, you can't tackle them without a reset for the rule of law, so that you are tackling the disease, the entire disease, and removing the symptoms. So as a country, we need to know this. And when you join a political party, you be contributing the way Eric was taking me to task this morning on the IEBC. Those are the debates that should be inside political parties, so that when we now go to visit the IEBC, or we are publicly calling for a change in how it is run, we are giving concrete, well thought out, well researched positions.
What is PLP's DNA essentially? Ethos, all of those things, and how do you communicate them effectively? I think that's what will last over time. We often, I think part of the problem, that's why I was saying parties are seen as vehicles for politicians a lot of the times, is because we never know anything about the party. You know the person. So what is
the party leader?
You know the party leader. So what is PLP's DNA?
DNA is we are a socialist party. Social justice is very key to us. And we are a party that believes in the rule of law, because it is from there that everything else flows. Good governance, respect for rights. And when you respect people's rights, you respect their property as well. You respect their resources. when you respect people's rights, you will apply their resources to their needs. So we are strong on rule of law and on social justice, looking out for people. And I say parties and a country are very much like a family. You look out for the vulnerable. That is why in a home, the mother will serve the youngest first and will tell the others, serve yourselves, because they can reach out for the bowl and serve themselves. But if you leave the vulnerable, they'll be left unserved. And our constitution actually forces, or rather directs, all political players in Kenya to be mindful of the vulnerable. If you look at Article 43, basic needs, education, health, infrastructure, or all the things that are necessary to support the right to life. Therefore, any government that plans without Article 43 in mind is planning unconstitutionally. And I think the KK regime at the moment plans unconstitutionally because they're not focusing on the needs of the people.
Okay.
They are prioritizing other things above those needs.
You know, there's a lot of feedback coming in.
Yeah.
Just before we go into that one, I just want to engage a little bit on the organization of the People's Liberation Party as a formidable political party that could take over government in 2027. That would mean that it produces a presidential candidate, it produces
Who is right
gubernatorial candidates, it produces member of parliament candidates, senatorial candidates, and MCA candidates. Right? That means that it's a party that is visible across the country. PLP, Martha, is not visible across the country.
Watch these coming months. We have not been out campaigning. We are now out campaigning. We have presence in over 30 counties and offices. Watch out. We are coming to your doorstep.
What is it that has made you not be that visible over the last 20 years? I mean, you're 20 years old.
Can you say that I have, can you honestly say that I have not been visible?
Martha Karua has been visible.
PLP.
NARC Kenya and PLP have not been as visible as Martha Karua, which is going into what Mariam was saying, personality versus the institution.
We are now going out to make the party visible as Martha Karua. And we are re-establishing our presence in many of the counties. But we have not completely lost our presence, because even though you say PLP, Martha Karua has been more visible than PLP, which is true. I keep saying we have always punched above our weight as a party. If you come to issues of BBI, we opposed and our presence was thoroughly felt. If it's when the coronavirus, pandemic broke out, we were there demanding things for the people. Our voice has never gone out. This is the time for renewal. We have rebranded, we have renewed ourselves. We are stepping out and we have stepped out. And you're going to hear more of us. In fact, by April, you will not ask me that question.
You said the next by-elections are scheduled for around March. Do you expect that PLP will be taking part?
Most likely not.
Why not?
We have people who are already inquiring, but when the preparation is to get ourselves out there in every corner, and the elections are next year, by elections, if we have a candidate whom we think has chances, we can get involved, but it is not our priority. And by the way, in the last elections, we did have a candidate in Chewani ward of Hola. Is it Hola?
Okay. I'm trying to think if it wouldn't be like a good litmus test, even in the previous by-elections, but just to take us
when you are ready, it's a good litmus test. But if you do not have enough time to prepare and you have not established good presence in the area, it's just a distraction.
Okay. getting into some of the questions and comments, let me start with YouTube. Yeah. So a strategist here, Njenga, is saying, why can't PLP target to capture parliament? Imagine a parliament where majority is PLP and speaker is Honorable Martha. The kind of reforms, even if Kasongo rigs, he'll be impeached right away. Then there's also someone positing, Charles Ndungu, theorizing, Rigathi Gachagua and Ruto broke ranks after the Gen Z protests. What if it's a ploy to disorient the people and cause disarray in the opposition, but they're secretly working together to secure 2027?
Unlikely.
I think my responsibility is to steer the party I lead, PLP, to re-establish itself in all corners of the country, in readiness to field a presidential candidate and all candidates everywhere. And that dream of a parliament dominated by PLP is our dream too, but it's never my dream to be speaker. I vied for deputy speaker once during my parliamentary days, during the Moi days. I obviously didn't get it. It's not anywhere in my dreams to be speaker. I left parliament with no intention of ever returning to it. Yes.
You want to go to State House?
You must close a chapter. Yeah. Yeah.
But Martha, you've given us a timeline of about 60 to 90 days when we shall now clearly see PLP and feel PLP.
You will feel us.
We should be having the Dalilium Buanimo. We should be seeing the Mawingu right now, so we know that in 90 days it's going to rain.
If you have not been seeing...
Let me just conclude. You've said, for example, that you've been engaging people in various forums. You are attracting professionals in what forums are these? I mean, I've not come across, and in fact, if you're watching or you're listening and you've come across a meeting organized by PLP where you've been engaged and then you've actually been told to join PLP and you considered or you debated with the people who were engaging you on PLP, you can let us know. Where are these forums taking place?
Are you thinking that we hold a barasa to attract professionals?
I don't know how you're doing it.
That's not how it is done.
I'm just saying.
But if you want to know whether we are engaging them, you will be seeing it. By them talking about PLP, and I'm sure you have seen a few, and there will be more.
So how are you doing it selectively? Are you like handpicking and saying we identify Janet, we approach Janet? Or are you saying we need the failure engineers, for example, of this country?
Generally, if I speak to professionals, I invite them to join, just like I'm doing now. This is a forum. In fact, this is the best barasa. Okay? So in forums like this, in any forums where you're speaking publicly, word of mouth, referrals, etc., etc. And I can tell you, it's just like candidates. You call out for candidates, and people come, and they refer others. Sometimes you go to a public place where you're doing some politics, and people approach you. So these things happen organically. It's not that you say, today I have a recruitment drive for professionals. Where are they?
We meet at KICC from 9 a.m. The best form of marketing everywhere is word of mouth marketing. And this is now basically endorsement from somebody else who has tried and tested and said, I have tested, come and see that the Lord is good because I have tested.
Actually, that's the way it's going.
Now,
that's the way
you're
it
not
is
feeling
going.
the weight of it. Is that what you're saying?
I am not feeling the evangelists of PLP who would come and make the three of us feel, okay, let's engage on PLP.
You will feel them. This is the year.
We have a timeline.
How shall we identify the master? Shall we ask them?
Even by the number, you see, every political party does give even to media houses people who can speak on their behalf. And that's how you begin to institutionalize. So when you think PLP, you are not just thinking Martha. You know that you can call this and this person. So as we share responsibilities this year, you will be able to know not just the Secretary General, not just one of my deputies. You'll get to know other deputies, other people holding other portfolios, so that you know when you want to know about the environment, you don't have to call Martha Karua. There's somebody who is dealing with that. So you begin to see.
I know, Mariam, you want to...
There's a second question.
Oh, there's a second question, okay.
Oh, but
no, I think my question was, what's on people's minds right now, and Martha might say, but Janet, I've talked about it on Twitter or X, is what I'm seeing on the headlines. I think what's top of mind is people trying to look for a solutions provider for the education gaps. Somebody's even asking about reactions around road carnage. I think the evangelism would be really strong if it's combined with what is top of mind for Kenyans. Cost of living, I don't think will ever not be top of mind. But there's such a hard reality for people right now around school, capitation, safety. And maybe after the break, it's to try and see how do we get people, how are you also using evangelism, but at the same time, being very...
Positioning your message.
Positioning your message to a point where it's so granular to what people are dealing with right now on a day-to-day. Yeah, what's the plan?
What's the plan?
So I'm about to do the bad job today.
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's time to take a break. Before you answer that question, it's 27 minutes after 8. We're having a conversation with Martha Karua, the party leader of PLP, who is the presidential aspirant for that party. She's working in the United Opposition to see how they come together to, present a united front in the next election. But first, building her own party and creating that message for the PLP party. We'll be back in a moment. If you've got any questions, please share them with us. What's our WhatsApp number?
0112 500 400. 0112 500 400. You can also call us on 019 038 858.
A new word. We're getting back into our conversation. I think we were having quite a bit of a conversation during the break, which we'll bring out just now. But before that, I think it was around landing the message that can sort of like resonate with people. And I know you said it all comes down to leadership, because without good leadership, as long as corruption breeds, then we will see these headlines. So people don't often link those two. That's what you're saying. People don't often see that it's not only about the road carnage or the capitation, it starts from poor leadership.
Those are symptoms.
Symptoms.
In actual fact, I would say there's a saying in my language that you identify an animal by the sound it makes and the way it walks. When it comes to leadership, that means watch what I say and check whether my actions match what I say. In Kenya, the electorate and most people watch the words only. They do not watch the behavior of those leaders, their track record. That is what is missing. What is ailing our nation is lack of good leadership, uongozi bora. And you will only identify leaders, but not just listening to them, but checking their background, the same way we do when we are employing workers in our houses. You will be able to know a person by the actions they manifest. If you're a person who is associated with public scandals of looting, you are likely to loot when put in charge. Therefore, people are likely to miss their health services. They'll miss capitation for schools. If you are a corrupt person, there'll be corruption even in the placement of year 10. Previously, I'm not saying that previously there was no corruption, but maybe it was not as much, it was just a few places. But generally, well-performing pupils got called to the schools they selected. Only a few got underhand placement. Today, a majority of the well-performing are not placed in the schools they asked for. Only very few, if at all. So things have gone completely helter-skelter. Dear Kenyans, it is about leadership. Be very intentional when selecting your leaders. We are all going to come promising you heaven, but check the actions of each leader, from your MCA, your governor, because there are things that are done by the government, by the county government, and the national government will never come to run your county unless if it were to be taken over. So elect good leadership, all the 6 leaders. And in PLP, we are promising you that we stand for good leadership. and we will be able to vet the candidates who come. And then the people will do the final vetting, because the highest form of vetting is the election by the people. Yeah. If we do not check whom we are electing and go via emotion, we are going to go wrong. And if you choose a leader based on the handouts they are giving you, then again we will go wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do a case study. And we like to do this, I think we've done it before. Martha Karua presidency, same circumstances, collecting 4.3 trillion, paying how much in debt? 2? It's 2 point something, right? Yeah, 2.1 trillion in debt.
Collecting 2.4 trillion.
Oh yes, this is the other way around, and paying 1 point something.
Paying 1.8, 1.9 trillion.
Something is the budget.
Is the budget, yes. So those are your numbers. Same problems, capitation, same circumstances as far as education, healthcare, and the state of the nation. What is PLP administration and a Martha Karua presidency doing?
Let me just say that. Give me the budget as it is and the allocations as they are. That's what we were going to inherit from the Uhuru government. And you don't do your budget until the next cycle. You come immediately after our budget is done. Using the same figures, ensuring that you stop the leakage. You still will deliver. I would still deliver in health. I would deliver education. I would deliver all the critical services. I'll rationalize the debt by having a debt register, checking what debts must be paid and which can be litigated on in the international courts. With the same budget, I would deliver better services, definitely. And there would be orderliness. And we would stop the road carnage or minimize it. You know, it's all about leadership. If we are getting to office in the morning to look for what can return to our pockets, then we lose the focus of why in the first place you are in that position. When Kibaki came in, he didn't do another budget. He came in with the Moi budget, but everything changed. It's like oxygen has been let in to the country for the first time. And even people's reactions were different. When they realized the government was serious in its fight against corruption, people started forcing police to return bribes. People recovered KICC and handed it over to the government. People were queuing at KRA to pay taxes. So change of intention, change of direction, demonstrated seriousness that your actions are matching the words. That is all that is needed.
And you still maintain this can be done in a term?
I'm not as seeking for 2 terms. Ruto 1 term, Martha Karua 1 term. And I'm saying that for the next 4 elections, Kenyans should elect people who pledge to serve only 1 term. We must entrench the culture that leadership is transient and that none of us will ever finish building this country. You do your best during your 5 years and you leave it to the next. To get that good culture where you do not have to trample on people's rights, to steal their money in order to campaign for the 2nd term, we need to have a spate of 1 terms. And I think that I was Minister for Water for only 3 years. And people remember a lot the work I did in water. It is possible to do such work, not in a ministry, but countrywide. Because all you are required to do is a team leader who facilitates, enables, inspires the rest of the teams under you to do their work. I didn't do the water sector reforms with my hands. It was all about leadership. There were teams doing various things. Then you are credited with the results as the team leader. So all we need is leadership at the various levels. And the first thing I would do is an address to those serving the nation in the various capacities. because everybody must take charge of the position you're in. If you're a watchman, take charge of that gate. If you're a policeman, and be accountable and promise that everybody will be made accountable. You personally, not the institution. You know, even the IEBC, why we keep complaining about it? We talk of it as though it's an elephant, where if you're in the front, you can't see the tail. But it's about people. Institutions are people, flesh and blood. If we made individuals accountable for what they do, if the courts of law started sanctioning returning officers, people for the things they have done, that accountant who paid when they were not supposed to pay, that road engineer who certified a road that had not been, thoroughly done, that lawyer who gives an opinion okaying something that is deliberately not so. If we started there, everybody will know that you account individually. Collectively, we can do a job, but individually, we account. Yeah.
I think you're speaking words that are music to my ears in terms of this is, our challenge is on leadership.
Yeah.
And that will go a long way in addressing the distrust that people have with government, because people just don't trust government. It's not the William Ruto administration, the Uhuru Kenyatta administration.
It's government.
It's government. Government comes and tells you this is a cow. You want to skin that cow to actually establish that it's not a donkey under this,
But the initial Kibaki government had the trust of the people.
It came in with that high point of trust. In fact, governments, at the beginning of an administration, because of that whole hype, there's a majority of the people who voted in on government who come in with that feeling of, goodwill to that administration, and then it's lost immediately. Now you can imagine that saying, once bitten, twice shy. Kenyans are 79 times bitten, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to talking about identifying a leader, I guess this is where we have a disillusioned population, which is not even aware, now how do I identify a good leader from a bad leader? How do I look back at the people who are in front of me? All of them have shady pasts, and all of them are seeking for my vote. I'm going to pick the devil who leaves me with something.
I don't agree by all of them have shady pasts. You can say most, but you cannot say all.
That's
so
true.
Let them interview each candidate. I'm ready to be asked. You had a chance as an MP. What did you do? You had a chance as Minister for Water. What did you do? You haven't had a chance as Minister for Justice. What did you do? And I'll be able to account. And the Hansard will bear me correct for my record as a parliamentarian. The reforms in Ministry of Water will bear me whatever. The constitutional journey in the Ministry of Justice, and even journey to accountability, getting ministers suspected of corruption to step aside during investigations. I didn't have the power to keep them out because the appointing authority could always return them, and did return some of them. But at least showing that I'm equal to the task. Let everybody account for the time they have been in office. And for those who have not been in office, you have been somewhere. You didn't come from the air. If you've been in a job, how did you perform it? If you're a member of society, how do the people you're with view you? Are you pro-people? Because one quality people must look for is whether a person is pro-people. Is it a person who engages themselves in community affairs? These are the things we really must look for. Yeah.
But then how do you strike that balance when you, Martha Karua, come in a package that also has people who have shady pasts or questionable pasts, but you're coming as a package, and you'll come and tell me it's a compromise situation because we are looking at the country and where the country is at, and we have to push forward.
There's no compromise.
If we said that the United Opposition, for example, we look at the United Opposition leadership, we'd start picking you out one by one. We'd leave two people in that United Opposition.
That's what you should do. I do remember during the NAC coalition in 2002, when the late Honorable Raila and company decamped from Kanu. He showed them the door because without him, they wouldn't have known how to walk out. When he brought
They would
them,
have stampeded at the window.
when he brought them out, there were everybody. There were the Kamodos who were, very vicious with their tongues. My late friend Timama, all those. We did not stop to ask, you insulted me the other day. Just like I had that handshake with Gachagua. And when he was in position, he was daily ridiculing me and calling out. In fact, he started that thing of 6 votes at my polling station.
Yeah.
So from 300, they became 6 votes. But you do the handshake and you don't ask those things. But when the voters are voting, it is the time to ask those things. When I saw in 202, I saw the voters dropped all those who were seen as heavyweights in Kanu. In that particular group, people like Kamodo, Ntimama, and many others fell by the wayside. So when Kibaki came to form government, I don't think he had such a hard time thinking of whom to pick because the population had already done the job. And with the few who passed, he was very deliberate. Only 2 people from the previous regime found way into his government. And that was George Saitoti and Kalonzo Musyoka. And I must say, both of them actually did their job. Yeah.
The burden of leadership is, holding yourself to that standard as well. So essentially, before the voter chips at these united opposition figures, internally, the united opposition should be chipping away and deciding these people, scandal after scandal, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, we're all out to back in at those 2 people, as Eric have said.
United opposition, you cannot do that, okay? Because I cannot, as PLP, arrogate myself a duty to go and police my brothers in the other parties. What we do is we come before you, the voters. Let each one of us ask for the seat that we want. Even when a united opposition selects a presidential candidate, it will be very much based on who the voters think highly of.
Yeah.
So it is not about us. Even if we go and retreat into a room, scientific polling will take whatever. Even when we were elected, we were selected during 2022. It was not just that interview we did. It was also a lot of polling. Because what you're looking for is a combination that can win. Yeah. So I believe you, the voter, you, the listener, you will play a part in selecting the front runner in the united opposition. So do not just tell us that, oh, you are united, some of you are like this. We don't police each other. My duty is to tell you that I'm offering myself.
Therein lies a big problem.
And it is up to the voter to select. And a vote is a vote. There is no dirty vote or clean vote. But there is a good candidate and a bad candidate. We must differentiate between the two. And the united opposition, its primary duty is to marshal the biggest vote.
The good, the bad, everybody come together.
Is to marshal the vote. There is no vote which, you don't grade votes. A vote is a vote. But you can grade candidates. So I'm telling you, the electorate, help Kenya, help us grade ourselves as candidates. We can't grade ourselves. Grade us as candidates and select from among us. And let everybody, not just those of us who say we are in the united opposition, let everybody who feels called upon to serve, come forward. But help us to pick the best to move this country forward, knowing that our greatest problem is bad leadership. We need good leadership based on the rule of law. A leadership that will respect the people and the laws those people have made.
You're saying therein lies
At that point where we are helping you to tell you who is the most popular candidate, will that candidate be first among equals?
Yeah, in a way.
Okay. That means that if we elect that candidate to become president, they will form government with these other thugs.
Not necessarily.
Problem.
Not necessarily.
Because we've just said that, yes, there is a united opposition, which has thugs, vagabonds, and angels.
Every side
we have
has
identified and said the angel is the best one to be the president.
Every side.
This angel will form government with the thugs and vagabonds.
Do not put words in my mouth.
No, I'm not.
I have not called my...
These are my own words.
Yeah, so I'm
these
saying...
These are my words.
But I want to admit this.
Yes.
That in all the sides, the bread-based and united opposition, they are all manner of people. So all the people you describe form the country called Kenya.
Yes.
Okay? That is us. And we must take a mirror and look at ourselves.
But we want
so
to
what
break
I'm
away
saying,
from that. Martha,
let me answer you.
Okay.
You've got to be patient enough for the answer.
Let me listen.
That when they help us pick the best, when they cast their votes, they'll also do the same with the rest of the candidates. And it means that if there is good leadership in a certain corner, you get more candidates in that corner. Let's assume that all the parties in the united opposition have members of parliament, have a share, and now we are going to government. Therefore, you're picking. If you've given party X the majority, it's going to be the dominant party. If party Y, which appeared big but now has very few people, will have few. What will happen if the leadership is accountable leadership, the overall leadership, the first among equals? You will have a criteria. It's just like picking the students we were talking. It's saying, give me a person with these qualifications. So even if the party, you have doubts about certain leadership within that party, once you give the criteria, the people are brought you, look at them, and you'll be saying, no, try this one. You'll have a conversation. This is problematic. Can you go to your pool and get me someone else? I believe there is no party that doesn't have a single good person. So it is possible.
So it wouldn't.
I want to allay your fears.
Principles.
I want to allay your fears.
You've done a good job of attempting to allay my fears. They're still there. I'm going to tell you how they're still there. Because I hear and I buy into what you've said. We've got to do a big break. Right? And this time, not elect people because they're populists, not elect people because they dress well, not elect people because they crack the best jokes,
or they talk well,
and all, but we're electing people because their track record shows that they are good leaders. Okay? Now, if they are good leaders, and we give them the vote of confidence, and we know that in the pool of the people who have come so far to the public to say they'd like to be the next president, we have some good, we have some bad. The vote of confidence to the united opposition through the polling will place all of you and say, the people have higher confidence in so-and-so, they have the least confidence in so-and-so. The person with the least confidence will still be at that table after the government is formed. Okay? And they will still be saying, but you see, I was in the team before this and the other. I'd like, my ideal place would be where the good candidate who is the good leader comes out and says clearly that this is the vote of confidence from the people, and therefore I'm dropping you because the people have said we drop you.
Right. It's almost that shareholding argument. It is the shareholding argument.
You're looking at utopia.
Yes.
Because even in a company like
I am
this
actually
one,
aspiring
in this,
to
even in
Singapore.
a company like this one, they are very good people, and they'll still be a bad person, and when they are discovered, they are chucked out. So what will happen, I've already told you that I would expect any good leader would have a criteria, and even the united opposition ought to, when the structures are ready, have a criteria of even picking members of the cabinet. That criteria must be fulfilled. We must not bend it the way we bend the criteria for interviews. Therefore, if you bring me Eric Latif, and there's something known about Eric Latif that should disqualify him, behind since I should be able, if I were the one, to say this is problematic because of ABCD. Read here, underline. Even if it brings an argument, you see? Because it's not about me. We are all subject to the laws of Kenya. And those laws of Kenya were made by Kenyans collectively, but not a political party, not a political formation. We are all subject to them. That's what rule of law means. And I do remember that there was a time in government I was insisting on that. It wasn't followed, and I ended up shipping out.
Yeah.
Because if
that's
you
my
start
fear, Martha.
the wrong way, it will go the wrong way. And for me, if I didn't trust or I didn't feel confident with the person leading, assuming I'm not that leader, I don't have to be in government at all. Yeah, you can even second other people. I don't have to be at all.
Okay.
It's not at whatever
Feedback.
cost. It's only if I'm able to serve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a calling to serve.
right.
Yes.
We have to wrap up now, and we'll wrap up with feedback, I think, and I'll leave one quote for the very end, someone who I think has followed your career quite closely. The Kikombe says, this was fun. Sasa arudi atupe economic plans. The next election will be based on the economy mostly. I think that's a major pain point for Kenyans. Like, urudi utupe economic plan.
Obara Omondi says, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. In the United Opposition, there are individuals who have dark pasts and they call shots from the front, even without them being principals.
I have said that Kenya is
a-
made of all of us.
Yes.
And in every formation, including homes, you have all those people.
Yeah.
It's the leadership we offer that matters.
Slaughter the black sheep.
Is the solution? Is this the final one?
Jose Little, or I hope that's the name. I agree with Senior Counsel that the track record of aspiring leaders can be a good indicator of potential good leaders. A lifestyle audit of aspiring leaders could be the solution to the question of who a good leader is. Subject all aspirants to lifestyle audits. Closing with Peter Otieno says, let each one of us ensure that their political party makes decisions as an institution, not in a personalized way. We should know that a country is as good as the political party that forms government.
Who said
Does that
that?
sound familiar?
Your words.
Yes.
That's for him.
No, that was you.
That's quoting you verbatim.
Yes.
Quoted-
He
yeah.
quoted you
Yeah, that
on
is-
Thursday, 1st of April in 2010.
It's
Wow.
something I say all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Senior Counsel Martha Karua, Party Leader, People's Liberation Party. Thank you for staying with us, and hopefully we'll have you again soon. In the next hour, we tackle is it a hidden crisis anymore? Let's call it a hidden crisis of illicit alcohol, and maybe what some of the practical solutions could be. We'll be hosting Miriam Sidibe. We'll be back in just a moment. It's coming up to 9 a.m.